Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible. In golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Welcome to another Finely Edged production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to the Premier League Cricket Show, and as is our wont, and we said we were going to do this from a long way out, somewhere around about September last year, it's ECB Club Championship time again, Hugh, and it starts this Sunday.
Wow.
It's
early.
been time since we were at Worcester. It seems almost a lifetime ago. And joining us to preview the Club Championship and talk about just how important the ECB Club Championship should be to everyone is winning player from last year, Mr. Joe Buttleman of Brentwood. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good. Had a nice winter, but sort of, it doesn't seem like too long ago that we were at New Road and having those fantastic celebrations with you guys as well.
You sobered up yet?
No, yeah, it took a few days.
Well, from some of the photos the following day, it definitely looked as though it took a few days for one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was well, I actually went back with my family because I'm a sensible adult these days. But the bus that left the next morning, I believe, got back to the M25 and broke down and had a 7-hour delay with no water, no alcohol. Well, they all had their medals, so that made up for it. But yeah, it was a bit of a bringing back down to earth the next day for a few of the lads.
Oh, just what you wanted. Hey, let's go back to briefly look back at last year. I mean, you guys won the ECB Club Championship. It was at New Road, Worcester. And for those who don't know, we are so thankful that the ECB have managed to get it back at Lord's for this year. On Saturday, the 20th of September, we'll all be at Lord's to see two clubs battle out to be named, the number one club in the country. You guys are obviously going to be all over wanting to get back there. But go back to Worcester last year. I mean, in terms of your career, Joe, how good was that day?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a career highlight. I've got to win that trophy since I joined Brentwood at the age of 21, and that's 15, 16 years ago now. We've had some brilliant runs in it. But it's a competition that it's got the best amateur cricketers and some professionals in the country, and we've always taken it seriously. And we've had arguably better sides over the years, or on paper better sides, that have got nowhere near it. And the standard is so high for club cricket, and yeah, it was immensely rewarding to finally get over the line. There was a bit of a relief there, I think, from sort of a couple of the senior players in the side that we'd finally done it. But yeah, no, it was a fantastic day.
I mean, taking it back to that day, firstly, I know we're moving away from Worcestershire, but they didn't half look after us there, didn't they? It was a terrific day out, and they really made sure everybody felt special. We felt special being there, and both teams, I'm sure, felt special being there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what a fabulous venue it is. I mean, and you're absolutely right that the whole facility, the staff there, everyone made you feel welcome, like they wanted you there. And people have asked me about Lords, and look, of course, we would love to have played at Lords as a club and as a community and had the fans there, but it just there was something quite special about it being at a smaller ground. We didn't get lost within that ground. We obviously had both sets of fantastic supporters there, all in that one stand, making a racket and having a great day out. And I think it was extra special that it was there, and yeah, it was just a brilliant place to have a final, and obviously we were on the right side of the result.
It's a proper game of cricket as well. It was a battle. I know. I would think the scorecard probably doesn't tell quite the story, but it was tense. You know, it was tense and intense. You know, it was a real battle between two really top sides. You know, and it wasn't. You know, I wouldn't say not pleasant, but it was aggressive out on the field. You know, both sides really wanted to win, and it was great as a neutral from the side to just watch these guys going at each other, and you guys came out on top.
Yeah, I think I read since that they felt like they played themselves on the day, which I think is a real compliment to us because they're a fantastic side. They got to two national finals. They're always there or thereabouts in their league, and they've got a lot of seasoned, very good cricketers, and that's a big compliment for us because we play hard cricket. We like to enjoy ourselves after cricket, but on the pitch we are a tough side, and we've tried to implement that throughout the club and new players that are coming in. And we don't want to give an inch, and likewise they didn't want to give an inch. And although the scorecard on the day probably reads quite comfortable for us, as you know, in a final you added a couple of wickets to that, and it could have got quite tight. Obviously, Will and Aaron were superb on the day with the bat, and we were very good in the field and with the ball. But it was like you said, it was a proper game of cricket, and one that it was nice to come on the right side of the result.
It was without a shadow my favourite day of the whole year for what me and Hugh did through the whole of last season. Whether it was playing or watching cricket or talking about cricket, it was just a phenomenal day from start to finish. From whether watching you lads warm up at the start, you're all warming up. And this is what people don't understand when they think of club cricket. That was professional level warm-ups going on over on the New Road. And then by the end, every one of the players who's coming off the pitch, let's be honest, knackered because they've put absolutely everything out on it. And that's what it's it's at the top level there, isn't it?
Yeah, look, we're not a professional setup. We've got a couple of professionals that have been in and around our side, which always helps. But we do try and be as professional as we can on the day because at the end of the day, people are giving up their weekends. And at first team level, particularly, we're there to win, and we're gutted if we don't win. We play for the enjoyment, absolutely. But that comes with winning. So we try and be professional, and that starts with the warm up, and then you take it through the day. And it's an exhausting day, and when you come off, you do feel emotionally you're completely drained from it, especially with the pressures of a final.
I think one of the beauties of the day, so we had the two sets of supporters packed into that stand right next to each other. The banter was great all day. When one side was singing, the others were a little quieter. Then it went, and it swung round about, didn't it, a few times in even in your ins when Aaron and Will were going well, but then every now and again it just dropped for an over, and the Northern fans came back. But there was a relief in your fans. You could tell when you won it. There was that cheer of relief, and as you say, getting over the line after all these years.
Yeah, I think there's always good. I think Essex and Liverpool has got certainly a lot of common traits to people that reside in those parts of the world, and yeah, the banter side of it and the singing that just added to the day and the big family atmosphere on both sides. And as you said, there was a bit of stick going both ways, but that adds to it. We're all grown ups, and it just added to a fabulous day, really. And I think everyone enjoyed it. I know Northern will probably look back and have a few regrets, but I think the relief from our side is they've probably seen a couple of times where we should have won games, maybe in quarterfinals, semi-finals, where we haven't got over the line. So to do it in that manner was nice.
Before we look back at how you guys got to the final last year, very briefly, I'm just going to make a plea to the ECB here. Lords, yes, for the final. It should be. It's the pinnacle of club cricket. But why not put the two semi-finals on county grounds, on neutral grounds? How cool would that be to have the semi-finals on neutral grounds that are then reciprocal in the right sort of to give those players that chance?
Yeah, that would be brilliant. A lot of the cricketers that play first-class cricket come from these clubs like Brentwood and your Northerns and your Wansteads in our region. There's any number of brilliant clubs around, and I think that they should look at the clubs and say, well, look, we should reward them, because there's a lot of people that give up a lot of, not just the players, but supporters, give them a day out, as you saw that our fantastic groundsman, coach, whatever you want to call him, Steve West, he gives up hundreds of hours every summer, not being paid, for the love of the game and to look after us as players, and you're rewarding hundreds of people by putting games on at places like New Road. And I just think it would be fantastic recognition from the ECB if they could do that. I know that the counties obviously have busy schedules, but I don't think it's too hard to fit that in.
Well, here's my point I'm going to make now, on my final point on this one. The semi-finals are in the middle of August, which happen to be the same time as the 100, which means that there's a lot of county grounds around the country that are not being used very much in August very often. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do that. And as you say, reward club cricket for what it does in developing players effectively.
Yeah, you've also got Harry Brook this week coming out talking about in his England captaincy, and the first thing he mentioned was building Wharfdale. It's the first thing on his list, which is absolutely fantastic. Good old Harry.
Exactly.
But you look at all these players, as you said, Joe. All these players, every time you look back at their histories, they've all got under 11 cricket at this club, under 12 cricket at this club. Every single one of them, right the way through. So yeah, I think the ECB possibly need to just enhance that little link a bit more. The money's potentially there, if Donald Trump hasn't exploded the world by this time next week, which may have well happened. But if the money actually arrives and does flow through, then maybe there's some huge scope to just link the two a bit tighter. I think
the money, it's obviously very important where that money goes. They've sold the family silver, haven't they? So they're only going to get it once, and hopefully it doesn't just go in. As much as I want my friends and professionals to be getting paid a little bit more, it doesn't just all go in the first batch of players to take all that money, and it does filter down into the grassroots element of cricket, because it's important.
Absolutely.
I've been carefully watching the cars in the Derbyshire car park over the winter.
They haven't changed yet.
Nobody's bought a new BM. Nobody's bought a new BM yet. We haven't got a big Audi. No Lambos turning up yet. Chairman's not rocking up in a souped up Range Rover. So yeah, so far so good.
Hey, let's look back at last year. I'm going to take you back just a couple of games. The quarter final, I'm going to say, was possibly the toughest game of the year that you guys had against Wanstead. They've just renowned Wanstead and Snaresbrook again as a nationals competition. Is that the one you'd put out there as the toughest for you guys?
Yeah, I think we didn't have an easy run, but I think that we got some momentum early on in that. We were in trouble early on in a couple of games and managed to get through. Again, having a result probably without the superstars, actually, but there were people that chipped in, built that confidence. And Wanstead's obviously one we look at straight away when we see the run to the final. And you know when you're going to hit them. We're always looking, see how they're getting on. I'm sure they're the same. And it's a massive rivalry. And yeah, it was a pretty special day. Again, a brilliant atmosphere and a real great advocate for club cricket with some real young, talented players playing. And yeah, it was nice. Nice day.
Well, certain Jordan Silk says it was the toughest game he played last year. He remembers the noise when the first 4 was hit around the ground. And if Silky's saying that, having played in the Big Bash the way that's a hell of a lot. And to be fair, he didn't do that much against Wanstead. But when it came to the semi-final against Bath, it's fair to say he sort of came to the front for you guys, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a class act. I think we spoke about it all last year, and you guys have met him and interviewed him, and he just oozes class. He's got that experience. He's a fabulous player. At this level, certainly, you're not going to find anyone who's better in a run chase, and I think he actually proves that if you watch the Big Bash throughout the winter. Every time he gets in a run chase, they seem to win the game, whether he's the one pushing on or he's just holding up one end. And he times it to perfection. He doesn't panic. Yeah. And actually, for the rest of us in the side, he taught us one or two things about how we should approach that. Yeah. And that innings against Bath was it he didn't even break sweat really. He felt like he had another gear. But he finds a boundary at the right time. Every single innings.
And he's the big name there, but let's look at a couple of the other names. Without a shadow, the guy who took you through that quarter final, that semi final, and the final was your brother, Will.
Yeah.
Sensational. Eddie Ballard turned up in that semi final against Bath, having not played in the quarter final, and then he had a great innings at the top of the order in the final. He got you guys off to a bit of a flat, but then Westy, he hadn't scored that many runs, and then he got to the final, and he was a different player altogether, wasn't he, the captain?
Yeah, I mean, that top order, the four you've just mentioned particularly, it's all class. The three of them probably, William had a little bit of a time as a professional cricketer, but none of them were far away from professional careers, and they're right at the top. You're not going to get three better batters in club cricket. William's very, very solid. Personally, very delighted for him, having come off the back of being released at Essex.
Yeah.
That A, he was still playing, and B, most importantly, he was enjoying playing cricket. And he played with a smile on his face all last year. Eddie Ballard, absolutely crucial to us, because even when he gets a 20 or a 30 at the start, it's usually quick. And it sets us up nicely that then we can knock it about in the middle, and then we look to save wickets and go hard at the end. Eddie's a real asset to have at the top. And then Westy's dominated for 10 years now, probably longer actually. It feels like he's been in the first team, probably he has been nearly 20 years. But yeah, his knock in the final was a true sort of leader's knock. Exactly what you want from your captain. He does set the standard in the field. Often when he has a little bowl, he'll get a couple of wickets he did in the final, and he's batting. And I think over the years, he has been frustrating at times because he goes so hard. I think since he's had a kid, actually, he's recognised that spending time in the crease is even more valuable.
Oh, hang on. Or spending 2 weeks away before you come to a final. That's the way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, or spending 2 weeks away and flying back from Europe for Saturdays. I mean, he's brilliantly committed, which is great for us. But he just had this real gritty determination last year, I felt, that people weren't going to get him out. And he scores so quickly. So if he's there, he can always catch up. And as you saw in the final, I have been sad enough to watch it back, and the amount of singles I didn't realise because I was a nervous ball of energy waiting to bat. But the amount of singles that him and William ran in that final was testament to the way they played, really, and they really put them under pressure with that.
Yeah, I'm just looking now at that innings where Eddie struck at 109 for his 24, Westy 59 strike rate, your Will 79 strike rate. Didn't matter. They just kept ticking. And the running was fabulous between the wickets. And bear in mind, for those who haven't seen it, the running was fabulous between the wickets, and Northern are one of the best fielding sides in the country.
Yeah, and we did know that. We told that what an outfit they were in the field. But we just felt that we wanted to put them under pressure and show our intent.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the credit there goes to the bowlers and the fielding from us, because we kept them below 5 and over. Which we were happy with on the day, which meant we never were really going to get behind the rate. And as I said, when we don't need to push too hard, then they could just bat normally, and then, they did very well in it.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mist tints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
Let me ask you a question on that run. It fascinates me. You guys play in the Essex Premier League, and it's not very often you'll see a 5 and over run rate on a Saturday. Yeah, you guys quite easily seeing scores of 200 plus week in, week out. Sometimes I've seen 300s in your league. There's that ridiculous one with you guys and
Oh God, don't mention it.
yeah, well, no, will do because I know Hathaway loves me to mention it. Yeah, there's some huge scores go on. What happens on a Sunday when you look at all these run rates? They're all right squeezed down for a 40 over game, aren't they?
It's a really interesting point. I think it's a pressure. I think that red ball that we use on a Sunday
Yeah.
does do a little bit more. I always enjoyed bowling with it when I could bowl. And we found that it does, certainly at the start, you often see teams that are 2 or 3 down early because it does move about. And I think it's just the pressure situations of it. Again, there's good sides. A lot of the time, the sides won't know as much as they know about each other in the leagues potentially. But yeah, there does. I think it's definitely that pressure. And if you get 160, you feel like you've got a chance with putting the pressure on the team chasing.
Yeah. And is that the joy of the cup? Let's get round to the simplicity. Is that the joy of what you've just said? You're playing against players who week in, week out, you probably haven't got a clue who half these lads are. Whereas you play Essex Premier League, you're going to play 18 games a season, and you're going to play a lot of lads who you've played against for many, many years. Whereas you might come up against them. Looking at this year's draw, you might come up against Harold Wood or Waltham, who are in the preliminary rounds. You wouldn't have a Scooby who these guys are, would you?
No, yeah, absolutely. It's refreshing because nice grounds as well. You often go into nice grounds. It feels sometimes you're only going an hour away, but it does feel like you're going into the Lions Den a little bit of these places. And actually, we've built a bit of a reputation in that competition that people want to turn us over, and it just feels like it does feel like a proper knockout match, which it is.
Yeah.
And there's always a bit of ag in the games, and there's the banter, and there's a little bit of sledging, and look, as long as it stays under control, then it's good, and it's just hard cricket. So when you win a game and you finish on a Sunday night and you're tired after 2 days cricket, it's rewarding. And often the boys will go back to the club at 8, 9 o'clock on a Sunday, and they'll reflect and have the beers, and that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a brilliant competition, the national.
255 entries this year. I know Mr. Aaron Campbell at the ECB, when he emailed me the draw, it was one of these. That's a lot of entries. Yeah, the numbers, which means there's more preliminary rounds. If you were starting out as a new club, what would you say to everyone at that club as to why you should enter the club championship in the first place?
I think because it gives you, if your league season isn't going particularly well. So we've had a couple of times where we found ourselves in positions where we don't want to be in the league, and we potentially can't win it. By no means do we give up on it, but it gives you another angle for some silverware. So last year, probably the best season in the club's history, because we've gone into the national. We didn't win the league. We got knocked out in the semi-final of the League Cup and the 2020. And you look at it and you think, oh, the seasons could have been very good, but actually, it's just another road to go down, and it is the most prestigious competition out there. And you're coming up against the best. And if you want to be a good cricketer or good club cricketer, you want to play against the best sides, and there's no better competition than in this one.
It takes a lot of commitment from players. Is that hard to get? Do you need to sort of get this commitment at the start of the season, lads? Do we want to do this again? Do we want to, or is it just there?
Yeah, absolutely. And some teams, certainly our team, has a lot of us have got kids now, so it's becoming more difficult every year. When I was captain 10 years ago, we probably only had one player that had kids. But the problem was then we'd probably go out till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday night, and then we'd turn up half cut and probably didn't perform to our best. But now it seems to be a bit more sensible, the side. It's probably, the results are probably better. But yeah, it is a big commitment. But if you're all in it together, and we are lucky at Brentwood, we've got a squad of probably 16, 17 real first team players, with some youngsters thrown into that. And if you make that commitment to each other, that you're going to go for it, then absolutely, you give yourself the best possible chance.
I think you've nailed it there, in that club's got to be all in. Full stop.
Yeah.
I'm the first to say, and I'm very critical, that there are far too many cup competitions around the country. I think some of them are very historical and local, shall we say. But actually, this is where the money should be at. This is where it's at, because this is the FA Cup of club cricket. It's the one where the most clubs can enter, and actually the best quality is going to raise its stuff. We were on at Worcester for the final with you guys on the same day as the Village Cup final down at Lords. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Village Cup final. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's prestigious. But it ain't what you guys are in, because this is the top of the top of the top. And I'm looking at your league last year. You guys came second, and you beat Wanstead and Snaresbrook into third place, but you had to beat them in the quarter-final of a bloody National Cup as well.
Yeah.
The Northern came second in their league. You had to beat the top end of these leagues, did you? And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes I think, I often think, and you can judge yourselves on what the other leagues are like, because you look around the Essex League, for example, and you think, we got really a tough gig. I'm looking at it again this year, and you've got Wanstead, you've obviously got Hornchurch, you've got Chelmsford, who won it last year, and a couple of other sides who are there or thereabouts. And you think, that's a strong league that you've got week in, week out, you've got to perform.
Yeah.
And like you said, Northern didn't win their league last year, but then they were in 2 national finals. It's brilliant.
Sets you up if you can get out of your local area, and it really sets you up because you've done the hard yards and you're ready to play against the very best.
Yeah, you've earned the right to play against the very best, and we know who the local sides are. We seem to Wanstead always there or thereabouts. Waltham have been a dangerous side over the years, and usually play them early on, and they come hard at you. So that's a difficult one. And then you've got the likes of Swardston, who are obviously a very good side, and they're knocking around. And then so you've really earned the right to go and play your Baths and your Northerns and your Suttons and your other good sides around Surrey. But yeah, you just take it one game at a time.
So you're in Group 14 this year. I love the fact that there's so many groups to start with. Yeah, the preliminaries include Fakenham and Winchmore Hill and Waltham, who you mentioned, and Harold Wood. You don't come into this until the 18th of the 11th of May. Who do you fancy? You've got Waltham, Hertford, Springfield, Crouch End, North London, Colchester, and East Essex from your league.
Yeah. Personally, I'd like to go somewhere I haven't been before. If it's because last year we had a lot of home games. Have we got any? Stipulated?
Yeah, you got a home game on the 11th of May.
Yeah, so as much as I love a home game, and we do get lots of people come over for the national, it's nice to go away. But look, I'm not too bothered who we get. What we do know, and the Westie's already sent out availability. Make sure you're available on these days. If you are going to book your holidays, or your missus is making you go to Sainsbury's on don't get your excuses in early. So yeah, look, we've got our eyes firmly set on that day, but we'll take it as it comes. I think that Colchester are a good side for sure, so they'll be knocking around. As I said, Waltham you never quite know what you're going to get, other than they've got extremely talented sides.
Yeah. Well, you got until the 15th of June before you have a potential away game, because your first 2 games will be at home if you get home. And then your third round group final on the 15th of June. Oh, God, that could be interesting, is all I'll say.
Wanstead or Hornchurch?
Hornchurch.
Yeah, there we go.
And then you go into, if you get through all that way through, you go into the Nationals, you may come against Wanstead, because that's just a draw then at the end of the day for the quarterfinals onwards, isn't it? And going down to that level. But, Hornchurch have got to get through, Fakenham and Winchmore, they've got to get through Harpen and Loughton, North Middlesex and Witham, who we've seen sign Sam Greer in the last 24 hours from Australia. No, there's no easy games in the club competition, is there?
No, absolutely. And look, Harpenden, I know a couple of lads there, and they're a very good side. Whatever way you look at it, and that is what is so special about winning it, or even having a good run in it, because you can look back and you can go, bloody look at them sides that we've come up against, or even haven't come up against, who have beaten teams like Hornchurch, and it's a nice position to be in.
Do you think the cup run last year is going to help you in your league this year? You're going to sort of go into your league season with that confidence?
Certainly there's some confidence that we will have taken from that. The league we just seem to, ever since I've been in the club, we've won it 3 or 4 times, but it's just a tough league to win. I think I've come second 8 times. or 7 or 8 times. And it's just week in, week out, you've got to perform. And I don't know if you get this fresh mentality on a Sunday, and there's no excuses. It's not like we're trying not to win games of cricket. We always go in with the right mentality, but it's hard to win the league. So hopefully that will give us the confidence. Certainly the couple of younger players that we've got in the side, they'll take immense confidence going into it, and hopefully that'll mount a decent charge in that. And the 2020, it'd be nice to get to. I see those Hornchurch boys out in Spain. I'd like to get there.
Isn't that nice to hear? Because we get so many people. I've got people this week saying to me, "Oh, it's Mickey Mouse. This is Mickey Mouse." That. Talk to Hornchurch. Talk to the Northern boys. They'll tell you this ain't Mickey Mouse cricket when you get out there.
Yeah, look, how brilliant is that? I think it's brilliant for club cricket. It's nice to be rewarded. The competition is, look, winning the 2020 national competition is an amazing achievement. And then to go out there as a bit of a reward, people can say it's a joke, but look, the joke's on people. They're out there for a week, 2 weeks with their families, having a laugh, playing a bit of cricket.
Well, look how hard Hornchurch found it in the finals week. You know, the wheels. I know the weather was very difficult, but the wheels came right off, and it is not Mickey Mouse cricket, is it? It is tough cricket. And whilst obviously Hornchurch has done really well in the past, it didn't work for them this year. Teams are learning how to play against the English sides.
Yeah, look, I mean, I didn't follow it too closely, but I did see I saw the Hornchurch games, and yeah, I mean, there's some talented cricketers out there, that's for sure. I mean, they hit in miles, and I think, as you said, if we did ever get there, we'd probably have to. I'm not sure Hornchurch want to give us any tips, but it looks like there's certain ways that you have to play on it, because some lads just seem to be able to whack every ball for six. Adil Malik for Hornchurch. I wish someone could tell me how to hit every ball he bowls for six, because I've certainly never been able to do
it. He's a bit of a wizard, isn't he? I don't think we're more than a year or two away from one or two of those lads playing for Darmstadt in Germany, or playing for, I don't know, Dreux in France. There's going to be one or two of them who are going to get picked up by clubs in this country to play, probably more likely in the T20s or the limited over competitions, maybe not the time cricket yet, but it's going to happen, because you can't ignore that sort of hitting and bringing that power over, can you?
No, and that's fantastic. What a brilliant advocate for the game that you've just mentioned there. Across the whole of Europe, you've got this, and these talented cricketers. I just think it's brilliant.
Absolutely.
There are not enough. There are not enough cricketers, and there are too many franchises at the moment. And this is where they're going to come from. You know, the T10, the T20s, the US Cricket League, whatever it's called, the Cayman Islands Cricket League. There is a dearth of top level talent, and they're going to unearth some in European cricket. So yeah, and that will only add to the value of European cricket, and also the value of getting there by winning the T20 nationals.
Absolutely. Hey, let's get back to Club Championship. Let's have a prediction, Mr. Joe Buttleman. You guys want to win it again. I'm sure, seeing that the finals at Lords on Saturday the 20th of September, you've gone, bugger me, we want to get there now, definitely. Be a lot closer to home to start with. What would be disappointing not to achieve this year?
I think it'd be disappointing not to get out the group stage, per se. I think the quarterfinals where we'd see as a failure if we didn't get there.
Yep.
To win it back to back would be an unbelievable achievement, given the sides that are out there. Yep. You've also got a big marker on your back when you've won it, so everyone will be keen to beat us. But I think our squad, look, we haven't got Jordan Silk this year, but we didn't have him in the final last year. We've got a nice replacement there.
Hey, come on, you did have him in the final. He was on bloody watching it all the bloody time permanently. It was like you had your own mentor and coach watching him.
Yeah, we did. We had him on Zoom in the dressing room as well, telling us what to do in the run chats.
He's brilliant, absolutely.
If we get to the quarterfinal, we'll be delighted as a club. To go on and win it, I mean, it's what dreams are made of for a few of us who just love club cricket, love Brentwood. So yeah, look, one thing's for sure, we'll be there or thereabouts, and we'll give it our absolute best shot.
Well, looking at who you've signed for this summer, with Brad Sayers coming in and Mr. Jake Duran, the Jordan Silk replacement from Tasmania, you're putting the money where the mouth is as well, in terms of making sure you got the right players in that squad, not just for Saturday, but for Sunday as well.
Yeah, I mean, as I said to you, I think we've probably got a squad of 16 now, of which if you're missing a couple, it's not going to hit too hard. We've also brought in a lad from Bishop Stortford called Joe Hawkins as middle order batter. He'll open the batting, I think, when Eddie's not around at the start of the year. So I think we've got all bases covered. We've got we've got a young lad called Bobby Harris who's 14. And we're going to try and get him into some games this year.
Wow.
And another young seamer called Alex Harvey, 6'4", 16-year-old. So these guys, it's the right time to get them into an experienced side.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Westy will always be picking the best side on a Sunday and do a bit of sort of rotating, maybe in the other cups that we're trying to develop players to go on and win the national.
Absolutely. I think that's the perfect message out there. Guys, if you're listening and your club are wondering what to do, focus on your league, focus on the ECB Club Championship and the ECB National. These are the big ones. These are the ones that are going to attract other players to your club that, with the utmost respect to the whatever the name League Cup is in, whatever it is, they aren't going to attract players to your club. These are the ones that attract the right players to your club, and you grow and you get the publicity. And you never know, you might even get us come and watch you.
Heaven forbid.
Well, that was nice having you guys there. It did feel like a professional game of cricket, frankly. And
it was surreal between ourselves, and I've got to say a big thank you to our friends at CricX as well.
Yeah.
The amount of publicity we could give the day was just brilliant. And you might not know this yet, Joe, but the week after when Northern had the bowl off for the T20 final, we streamed it live on Twitter. CricX streamed it live on Instagram, and between us, we had over 5,000 people watching it.
Really?
Don't tell me club cricket's where it starts. That's where it starts, week in, week out, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I certainly watched that. I mean, we were all. I think as I said to you, we got a bit of affiliation with Northern now. As hard as the game was, and probably as nasty as we were to each other at times, we were rooting for them absolutely the next week, and we were gutted to see that it got rained off. But look, they got the job done in the bowl out, which we watched because some people say we're sad. But look, club cricket, 5,000 views. We see in our stream, we get up to 1,000 views sometimes on our national feed. People are interested in it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll keep plugging it, mate. We'll keep watching what's going on, and we're going to follow a couple of teams from the start this weekend and see where they go. I'm going to pick a team from the north and a team from the south, and wherever they go, we'll try and see where they end up in the middle. Obviously, these are going to be the smaller clubs, potentially smaller teams, but they're going to come across the Northerns, the Ormskirks, the Brentwoods, and the Baths at some point in the future, aren't they? So go well, mate. Have a great season ahead. You never know, we might see you at Lords on September the 20th.
That'd be brilliant. Thank you very much, guys.
Brilliant, James.
Cheers, Jack.
Take it easy.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NCCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk, to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This weekend, only at Macy's, it's our lowest prices of spring. How low? Diamond rings, pendants, and earrings, only $399, originally $1,500. Ninja blenders, now $89.99. And $395 men's designer suits, only $99.99. So if you're wondering why you should shop Macy's lowest prices sale, well, the name pretty much says it all. It's our lowest prices for one weekend only. Starts tomorrow at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.